Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Camille, Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Y'all, I am tired, so we are going to get into this discussion so that I can go to sleep. So we are reading the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 11 tonight, and that's talking about breaking out of the middle class. Hey, good evening, Mary. So if you guys are going to watch this live with me and interact, go ahead and drop those ones. If you're going to catch this on replay or you're watching this on replay now, go ahead and drop a 2. So like I said, I'm tired, so we're going to get in, we're going to get out, and hopefully you're going to take something away. And if not, go read the book, because the book is phenomenal and it's definitely challenging my thinking. Hopefully it's been challenging your thinking. Hey, what's going on, Alfonso? What's going on, Valerie? Hey, Henry. Jessica, what's going on? Thank you so much. I'm good, but I'm tired. Jello. So, if you are going to go ahead and share this video, please do so, because it will help somebody challenge their thinking and set their goals to a whole different level, just catapult our lives. All right, so go ahead and share it. And then when you do this, it's going to enter you into the drawing to be able to get cash prizes, gift cards, and also free health and wellness products. So what is the 10X rule? The 10X rule is applying 10 times more thought and 10 times more effort into whatever your goal is, so that you can achieve greater in whatever category of life that we're talking about. So this applies to every aspect of your life: spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, absolutely every aspect of your life. So tonight, though, we're going to talk more of, the title of the chapter is Breaking Out of the Middle Class. And so this is interesting because many of us, for most of our lives, we have desired to be a part of the middle class. And some of us may not even really understand what the middle class means. Like, what does it mean to be a part of the middle class? So before he even says anything or writes anything in this book, what he says is, please do not take offense. So you know it's going to be real and raw about his thought process and what he has to say in this chapter. But he says, don't take offense. What he writes in this chapter, just have an open mind and listen to what he has to say. And he says that if it's been your goal to be a part of the middle class all your life, right? You were younger, you just thought about how you're going to get this nice house, you were going to get a nice car, maybe be able to go on some vacations. He said that you have the wrong goal. So let's hear him out on this. Let's hear what he has to say. So again, good evening to those who are joining in, or maybe you're tuning in for the first time. We are reading the book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 11, which is breaking out of the middle class. And he says, so let's just think about breaking out of what I call the middle class mentality. So what he's really saying is that we need to, hey, what's going on, Tiana? That we need to break out of the middle class mentality, that this is a mindset. So we've talked about the mediocre thinking. We've talked about the degree of action where you do normal activity, and so therefore you get normal results, which ends up diminishing because you're not able to sustain when challenges come. The people who act at normal levels, again, you're not ready. You're not ready for opposition. You're not ready for someone to come against you. And so when that happens, you are completely lost. Let me grab some water. Okay. And good evening to everyone who's joining in. All right. So now y'all just bear with me, okay, as we go through this and as we challenge ourselves to think differently and to desire more for ourselves. So he says, I believe I can make the case that the middle class is the group hurt most by its members, thinking and actions, leaving themselves to be the most susceptible to insecurity and pain. He says that the middle class is the class that seems to be most trapped and manipulated and at risk. What do you guys think about that? I mean, just hearing what I'm saying already, and thanks for all of you who are dropping your ones and staying on here and watching live with me and interacting. What do you think about this? The middle class. What do you think of when you think about the middle class? What do you think about when he's saying that to be a part of the middle class is the wrong goal? Are you agreeing, or are you like, give me more information? What exactly do you mean by the middle class is the wrong goal to have? What are your thoughts on that? What is the middle class? Do you even know what the middle class is? We go around and we talk about the middle class and upper class and lower class and poor and rich and all of that, but do we understand what that terminology means? So anybody have any thoughts on that that's on here? I'm not seeing anybody drop anything, so maybe I'll just keep going. But meanwhile, you all think about that, okay? But let's talk about the incomes of the middle class. So it says reports from Wikipedia and the 2008 census suggest that the middle class income range, give you more information. Let's go. All right, the income range is somewhere between $35,000 to $50,000 per year. It says if you read another set of studies, these figures are between $22,000 and $65,000 per year. Now, some people might look at that and be like, what, $65,000? Like, I can do something with that. I can work with it. But he says that it's no secret that it would be extremely difficult to live on either of these income levels in an urban area like New York or LA, much less financially secure. This experience is not what most people would consider a desirable situation. So think about $22,000 a year. Can you do that? Can you all live off $22,000 a year and feel comfortable with being able to reach all of your 10X goals of being able to not only retire yourself, but if your parents needed help in their retirement, you can help them. And if your children had a crisis, you can help them. And if your spouse has a crisis, you can help them, right? Because we're talking about the middle class not being able to prepare or be ready for when challenges come in their lives. TX 56,000 for a family of 5. So when we're thinking about that, so if that is the middle class price range for a family of 5, most people who have a family of 5, and so that's just the average, right? So that means a lot of people aren't getting that. Like it is, if that's what you need in order for a family of 5 to be able to live comfortably and be out here and making it comfortably, right? Okay, so let's go on and see what he has to say. He says the middle class is further divided into upper and lower middle class. The upper middle class usually consists of people who have substantial assets and the household earnings of over $1 million per year. And then with $1 million per year, that often changes of your mindset about that being a lot of money, because once you get the money, then your priorities change of what you're working on. So $1 million, he's saying, is really, it becomes not much when you have $1 million, because now everything's different. What you're spending your money on looks different. What you're trying to accomplish looks different. And so now you need more than that $1 million in order to really be able to do what it is that you want to do and to achieve your goals. Okay. Yes, in Texas. And Texas is great. That's why a lot of people are moving to Texas, right? Okay. So then he's saying the lower middle class. So let me skip down here. He says the people in the supposed upper middle class occupy noticeably higher positions in their offices and are considered financially more stable than many of their peers. This may very well be the case until any sort of economic destruction occurs. So just think about it. Even with the hurricanes coming, just everywhere, you know, when tornadoes come, if there's some type of earth, right, natural disaster that comes, a lot of people are not prepared for that. If they have some type of financial hit, you know, and they are not prepared for it. And so they easily go from being in a place of being middle class to just living the life, appearing to be middle class, but really struggling. Okay. And so this is what Grant is saying. So we can all take what our opinions are and we can study it and we can think about it, and then we can choose if we want to live by this type of mentality. Okay. Because what he is saying is that the middle class is really a middle class mentality. And that's what he is telling us is wrong, that we should not have the middle class mentality because we're not prepared for the challenges that come in our lives. And so we need to shoot for higher goals. So he goes on to say, then we tend to see that even this group is unprotected. Admittedly, members of this group should experience a considerable rise in their incomes due to the economic growth of the nation in good times. They have higher disposable incomes than many of their counterparts in the lower middle class, which consists of people who have basic educational qualifications and an annual income of $30,000 and $60,000. The lower middle class constitutes a large part of our country's total population. And I understand that not everybody's going to get with what this topic is tonight, because it's probably just over your head, because we have the middle class mentality. We are just trying to get through life. We're just trying to pay our bills. We're just trying to do whatever we need to do to barely make it by, just to get by. What are my necessities that I need, Camille? I don't care about this extra 10x stuff, because I just need to be able to pay my bills. Can I make sure that my lights are on? Can I make sure that my children are fed? And that's what he is saying, that the 10X rule has to come into place if we want to be able to achieve more, do more, and be prepared for the unexpected. Be prepared for the challenges that comes in our lives, okay? So he says, this set frequently struggles, so the lower middle class, okay? This set frequently struggles to reach the upper middle class's level. However, when economic hardship takes hold, everyone gets pulled down. The upper middle class, the lower middle class, everybody is struggling. It doesn't matter where you are falling in the middle class. When economic hardships come, everybody gets impacted who's in the middle class. And so what he is saying is, if we know that the middle class is going to be the class that gets highly impacted by this in a negative way, then why do we strive to be middle class people? Because when we are middle class people, we have middle class mentality, and then we end up losing what it is that we have spent our lives creating because we are not prepared. All right. So now he gives an example. All right. He says, a client of mine recently asked me via text message on the 26th of a recent month, Grant, I have a net $10,000 to keep my doors open this month. How can I do this? And he says, I happened to get his message during a Sunday football game, so I asked him, are you watching the game today? He texted me back and said, yes. I then replied, what are you doing taking a Sunday off to watch the game? You should be out distributing flyers, spending every second of every hour trying to create the income in excess of what you want. And by the way, you need 100,000 in net profits, not 10,000. Sunday, he responded, is a day of rest. Oh boy, I shot back. It is for those who work the other 6 days. So how many of us are taking all of our days, we're just going to work, we're barely making it by, we're not putting anything in, and then we want to rest, but you haven't accomplished anything, but you're struggling. Like you're living paycheck to paycheck, but you're not putting in the work that you need in order to be able to succeed at the level that you want to. So this man is saying, I need $10,000 in order to keep my doors open. Grant's like, no, you need $100,000 and get up and get some work done, because obviously you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is why you're struggling, which is why you are living paycheck to paycheck, which is why you can't get above water. This is why you just can't breathe, why you're living on credit. So then he goes on to say, just to finish the story, he said, if it is for those who work the other 6 days. The Lord wasn't talking about to the people who are short on funds and haven't earned the day of rest. So turn off the game, get off your couch, and go get the money you need. Quit being a middle-class slave and go create the income you need to secure wealth and financial freedom. So I understand, hey, what's going on, Eric? I understand, again, that this message isn't for everybody, because you don't want to be above middle class. Like, you want to be right where you are, or maybe you want to be less than that, and you're okay. You're okay with being on government assistance. You're okay with struggling. You're okay with not having enough. You're okay with having to set up a GoFundMe account because you don't have what it takes to be able to pay for your funeral, and your family has to pay your bills. You're okay with this stuff. And as long as you're okay with that, then Grant is saying, okay, fine, rest and take a nap all you want to. But if you really want to create wealth and financial freedom, and you want to be in a position in your life where buying material things is nothing, Okay, because it is nothing. And that's how we should think about it. Like, we spend so much time thinking about the material things that we can buy when there's so much more to be accomplished in our life. Because our 10X goals should be aligning to what our purpose is. And we can't even focus on what our purpose is because we're too busy struggling, trying to get some food to eat and trying to make sure that our electric is paid. So if you want to be able to live a 10X life, you have to tap into your purpose and you have to align your goals to that. But many of us are living in this middle class mentality where it's like we are just doing what it is that we need to do to get by. And that's not enough. This is what Grant is saying in the chapter, okay? So let me go on here. He says, my client is at risk because he has been operating based on what he needs and therefore just getting by. Unfortunately, the middle class mentality will not create financial security. Unfortunately, the middle class mentality will not create financial security. Above middle class, purpose living. Yes. So what he's saying, the bank's dried up on him. He can no longer live off of the credit for him and his business. He said this is the problem with many members of the middle class. They go after what they deem necessary rather than ever going really big. We just go over the small stuff, the basic stuff. And hopefully the lights don't go off on me because these are automatic lights or censored. So let me move around to make sure the lights don't cut off. But if they do, I will get up in the dark, cut on the light, and come back to you. So just an FYI. All right. So he's saying they go after what they deem necessary rather than ever going really big. Most people believe that a comfortable middle class life includes clothes, a house, a few cars, vacation time, maybe an upper management position, and some money in the bank. I'm cool if that happens. And that's where we then settle. But then we get to a point where it's like, but I'm still not, like, I'm still missing something. I'm not fulfilled. There's something that's going on that should be happening in my life that's not happening in my life. And it's because you've had this middle class mentality of settling and of doing normal behavior. And so you've gotten normal results. And now those results are diminishing because you're not really living in your purpose. You've just done what you need to do to get by, but you're not fulfilling what is within you. There are so many untapped gifts. Remember, we're supposed to be dominating, and dominating doesn't mean settle. When you dominate, that doesn't mean settle. Y'all got that? So what is it that you're supposed to be dominating in your life right now that you're just sitting down on and you're allowing to just go by because you're like, I'm comfortable. I'm middle class. I have a house. I have a car. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do anything, right? Maybe you are already retired. Like, I've gotten to a point where it's like, yeah, I don't want to have to be in this grind to work for money. I want to be able to set myself up where I have money coming to me in a residual way, where I can then go out and still fulfill my purpose at a greater level without having to work other things in order to create the income. And some of us are just like, no, I just want to get retired, and I'm going to retire at 60 years old so I can kick my feet up and do absolutely nothing. But most people can't retire at 60 anymore. They're working past 60. And then they have to go get a job at Walmart greeting, or they have to, go do something extra because they weren't prepared. So stop thinking like, once I stop working this job that I've hated all my life, that I'm just going to kick back and do nothing. What is your purpose? What are you supposed to be fulfilling in your life? Okay, so moving on, he begins to talk about, middle class has meant different things during different eras. But he talks about what is middle class now. So I'm going to kind of skip that part. If you want to read that, then go to the book. We're in chapter 11, okay? And for those of you who want to start reading this book, this is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Don't have any of that. Where can I start? I'm in my 60s. So you start by that, by identifying, are you talking about your purpose, or are you talking about the house, the car, retirement plans, Lexi? Give me a little bit more clarity on what any of that is so I can give you better direction. Okay. Middle class mindset is not an income level. So he's saying the middle class is a mindset, not an income level. An important distinction that I would like to make. Middle class has a mindset, rather than income level. Someone who makes $1 million a year may still adopt middle class thinking and actions. It is more of a mentality that creates the trap that will fail you. The middle class is in large part a goal that will not provide you with what you truly want. It is middle, it is normal, it is average, synonymous with the terms we've already deemed as highly unattractive. So if you want to go higher, if you want to be able to create a legacy, if you want to be able to leave an inheritance, then you have to begin to think different than middle class. Because middle class is only going to get you but so far. Okay? So where am I here? Today, the middle class, it is defined as beginning at the point where people have roughly a third of their income left for discretionary spending after paying for basic food and shelter. It was defined as beginning at the point where people have roughly a third of their income left for discretionary spending after paying for basic food and shelter. He said, however, almost no member of today's middle class has 1/3 of his or her income left for discretionary income. This group is currently being hammered by something called the middle class squeeze, a situation in which increases in wages fail to keep up with the inflation for middle income earners. At the same time, the phenomenon fails to have a similar impact on the top wage earners. Hope you guys are catching what I'm saying as I'm reading. So essentially, that even though people are getting paid more because inflation is going up, the income is still not matching up with the spending. So even though you're getting more money on the job, that means that because inflation is going higher, you have to pay more for your things. And so therefore, it is still not balancing out. Like you're still not on top because you're in the middle class. He says, persons belonging to the middle class frequently find that their dependence upon credit is worsened by the collapse of the housing market, prevents them from maintaining a middle class lifestyle, making downward mobility a threat to counteract aspirations of upward mobility. So people are being threatened to go down as a way for them not to want to go up. Okay, so what is the way that we can overcome this? We overcome this by not stretching, having a goal for middle class and having that mentality. We have to think 10 times bigger, and we have to think and put in more effort 10 times more so that we can achieve more and not fall into this middle class thinking of shortage, thinking of normalcy, thinking that we can just settle right here in the middle class. So he's saying it's a mindset. Middle class is a mindset. It's normal. It's average. And if we want to achieve more, if we want to do more, if we want to walk out our calling and our purpose, then we have to want more, because otherwise we will put so much effort into building somebody else's dream, working every day for 40 hours a week plus, and still not getting anything accomplished in our life. You don't even have to believe me. You can believe yourself as you go to your job every day. Are you happy or are you upset? The friends that you talk to, do they love their jobs or do they hate their jobs? Do they love rush hour traffic, spending time in that every day, or do they hate it? So you know what you're doing with your time, and you know what the people who are around you are doing with their time. And you know if they're struggling, and you know if you're struggling. You know if you're living off credit, and maybe you don't know if they're living off credit, but you can get a good guess, right? And so when you understand this, then you will begin to change your mentality from thinking from this mediocre level to living a life of abundance, to saying, I want 10 times more, that I don't want to settle for 10,000. Let's go for 100,000. Stop setting your goals and falling short. Stop setting short goals and then falling even shorter of those goals. You want to set high goals. And then that way, if you shoot for the moon, you at least land among the stars. So he says, this kind of squeeze always affects the largest group of people in a given population. The wealthy don't depend on income and debt. The wealthy do not depend on income and debt. And the poor will receive help for which the middle class don't qualify. So the wealthy don't depend on income and debt. And then the poor is going to get help from everybody else. So where do you think the people are struggling most? The middle class. So what do you want to do? You either want to get to the point of being wealthy, or you go even further down and you live off the government assistance for the rest of your life. And there are some people, that's what they want to do. Like, they want to be broke. They want to be poor because they know that they'll get government assistance. Like, there are some people, some women who will go and get pregnant on purpose. They will have their children go and get pregnant while they're living in their home so that they can get more tax money, so that they can get more government benefits. Like, this is real life. This is what some people do. Like, this is what they desire. And some of us, even on here and on Facebook, some of your Facebook friends are getting trapped up in that. And we have to think differently. If we want to make an impact, we have to get to a place where we can play in the game where the impact makers are playing. Otherwise, we are going to be stuck in this middle class mentality, or we're going to be in the poor of the poor, just trying to get off what we can from other people, but never putting any true effort into our lives. Hey, Bryant, what's going on? Okay. So some of that I digress, but it was on my mind to say, so I said it. Okay. All right. So for most people, being middle class means having a reliable job with fair to good pay, consistent healthcare, a fairly comfortable home, and a nice neighborhood, a good education, whatever that means for one's children, time off for vacation. This is highly valued, and money in a 401k that is growing and allowing for a decent retirement. But we've already talked about the 401ks are diminishing. They are going away. They are not as reliable as they once were. And he even begins to talk about that. So not to let me get ahead of myself. Get that out. All right. Yet all of this taken for granted for so long is now in turmoil thanks to a housing implosion and credit collapse. The existing middle class is being squeezed and hopes at best to hold on to or recover past achievements. Guys, guess what? Every day we need to be working towards something greater, towards our purpose. We cannot continue to think that we are going to be able to reap the benefits from our past work. It's Black History Month. We're not getting reparations. Okay, stop expecting your acres and your mule. It's not coming. And that's what we've done here in this middle class mentality. We're sitting here waiting for them to give us something that is owed to us because we have worked for so many years. Hey, Wilbert, what's going on? So we feel like we put in all this time. I've dedicated all my life to working here, and this is what they gave me. They gave me a watch and told me, hey, congratulations, go and live your life. Hey, what's going on, Jamal? Oh, I see you have my brown emoji down there. That was an inside joke for all of you all who are on here. All right. So we can't live off past. We cannot live off our past. We have to begin to create new income, new ways, new streams. We are in creation mode. Hey, Scott, thank you. Okay, and again, for those of you who are just tuning in, or maybe this is your first time, we are discussing the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and we are on chapter 11, and he is talking about breaking out the middle class. So we're discussing this book, and I'm just adding my 2 cents in as we go. But again, he already said in the very beginning that this is going to challenge the way that we think, because most of us have been taught that this is what we should be going after. And he said that the middle class mentality is the wrong goal to have. All right. He says, what is the point of me telling you all this? Ask people in the middle class, or let me even back up, because I think this is an important part as well. He says its members' jobs are in jeopardy and their savings and investments have all been put at risk. The greatly appreciated vacation of the past will probably be more like a visit to the neighborhood park. And we already see that. That's why a lot of people focus more so on staycations. And now he's saying it's going to be like parkcations. Like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to go down here to the park. Why? Because we can't afford it. And not only can we not afford it, but we don't have the time. Like, our bosses won't let us off. Our jobs won't let us off. I've already told you all, when I was working for an organization, I wanted to go on a missions trip. And when I went to them to get permission for my missions trip, they told me no. And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. So you want me to be here for one day to fulfill something that I could honestly care less about, but to fulfill my purpose, you're telling me no? And that was it for me. Like, for those of you, some of you have said, like, what's your story? My story is I was working for an organization. I was following this path of going to school, get a good job, and then go get your own place, get your own stuff, right? Live and do what it is that everybody has told me to do. But once they told that to me, it like clicked in my head. Like, you aren't for me. You aren't for me living my purpose. Like, you are for me doing whatever it is that you want me to do. And it's something that you could care less about too. But yeah, you gonna keep me trapped here? Like, oh no, honey. So I consulted my pastor. I consulted people, and I said, you know what? This is what and my pastor is also my father, by the way. But so from there, I said, I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. Like, I can no longer drive to this job 45 minutes, because at this time, guys, I had even gotten a promotion. Okay. So I was working on this job. I was doing good. I was like the youngest in this manager position. They even told me, like, we want to see you go higher. We look to see you as one of the people who are really going to be part of upper management in this company. And that sounded great. Nice. You know, what is it that you want to do? And I'm telling them what I want to do. And then when I ask them if I can do it, then they're telling me no. And I said, oh, no, baby. I will not drive 45 minutes every day, get stuck in this traffic. And then just every day was gray. And every day I'm depressed. And literally, again, you guys have heard my story. Well, some of you have heard my story. I'm at my desk like, oh my God, is it time to go home yet? Because I've had it. Like, I'm over this day. What is the purpose of this? Me and one of my coworkers are just like texting back and forth like, oh my God, we've got to do something different. And I made a decision in my life at that time. I said, I will not do anything else that does not allow me to have peace. If it does not give me peace, if it is not working towards my purpose, then I'm not doing it. And I quit. I put in my 2-week resignation. I went on and did what I was going to do with my mission trip. I started my own businesses, and now I'm living life on my own terms and in my own way. And I'm not allowing people to dictate how my life should be, but I have a plan, I have a purpose, and I have a goal, and I'm working to make sure that I do something greater in this life and make a greater impact than be miserable driving to a job that does not care about me every day. Now, if you love your job and that is working in your purpose, great. I'm not telling you to go quit your job. Okay. But what I'm telling you is that even in the midst of working that job, make sure that you are moving toward your purpose. Make sure that you are not stuck in the middle class mentality. All right. So, yes, absolutely. They wanted me to build their dream. They didn't care nothing about mine. They just wanted me to build theirs. And that was the end. That was the end of it. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. What is the point of me telling you all this? Grant asked. He says, ask people in the middle class if this feels secure or desirable. And although they may claim that they're grateful not to be poor, they will likely tell you that they feel more like a member of the working class than the middle class. So technically, on my job that I was just telling you all about, I was part of the middle class, right? I was part of the middle class, but I will answer this question for you all if you don't want to put it below. Did I feel... In fact, let me tell you, I was living on credit as well, because I was in a relationship too, and I was helping to pay some of his bills. So I had enough to kind of do what I wanted to do. But then when it came down to help support him and help him build his dreams, then I found myself getting money out from the bank, because at that time it was like you could get money beforehand, and then when you have a direct deposit, then you would just pay that money back when the direct deposit hit. So in fact, when it came down to me getting away from that bank, it was because I couldn't afford to pay back the money that I was owing them that was about to come out of my direct deposit. So I shut down the account. And I know some of y'all have been there. And if not, you know somebody who has, where it's like you're trying to get over on the system because you are in a place where you are not financially secure. Like, we try and trick ourselves to think like, oh, okay, well, this is okay. The way that I'm living is okay. Living off of credit is okay. Living paycheck to paycheck is okay. Struggling is okay. Complaining every day about how I'm struggling, it's okay, and it's not. So when are you going to get up and do something about it? All right. So Consider as well the fact that the dollar is worth less today than it was yesterday and will be worth even less tomorrow. So as the dollar is decreasing, either we can think about the money that we don't have, or we can go out here and make more money so that we can have what we need to fulfill our dreams and our goals and be financially set and have the financial freedom and be wealthy. And this isn't about material things, as we've already talked about. But the middle class is not ready for if challenges come. Like I take, for example, my parents are now retired, but my grandfather, he is in a place where he needs some additional help. And so now the parents have to help take care of their parents, right? But at the same time, trying to help people here and there, helping children out, helping congregation members out. So they have so much to do. If it was they are just simply at this middle class mindset, they would not be able to do that. Or if they did, then they're going to be stressed out because they truly can't afford it. Are you in a position that when your parents get to a point where they need help, if they aren't set up properly, which majority are not, are you going to be able to help? Or are you going to push the responsibility on someone else? Or are you just going to have to struggle? All of y'all going to struggle together because you have not set your life up properly. You haven't put in 10 times more effort. You haven't put in 10 times more thought to be able to have what it is that you desire. And that is in every aspect. So that is a family goal. You're making this additional income because you will have a family goal that everybody is going to be set. Everybody is going to be taken care of. Everybody can eat properly. You don't have to live off of French fries and hamburgers off the dollar menu because you can't afford to go get some fruits and vegetables from the grocery store. I hope this is helping. I don't know why I got so excited about this topic, but obviously it's in me. All right, so let's just keep on going. Someone is making $60,000 a year, pays $15,000 in taxes. If that person is lucky, he or she let me see here. He or she is left with $45,000 a year, which is really worth $32,000 for a home, school, insurance, food, car payments, fuel, medical emergencies, vacations, and savings. Does this sound desirable to you? Does this sound desirable to you? So even if you're thinking about you have a family, if you make $45,000 or if you make the $60,000, by the time you pay your taxes, like what you actually are bringing home, by the time you pay your bills, you pay your car note, you pay your school loans, you pay your hospital bills, your doctor bills, you pay for your kids to do their extracurricular activities. If they're in private school, you've pretty much paid a college tuition for them to go to little Johnny's 3rd grade program. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, do you have the amount of money that you want to be able to do what it is that you want to do without complaining? Like, I get so tired of people. They're like, I want to send my kid to this school, but I don't have the money to do it. And then all they do is complain about it. Well, then make more money. Like, why do we have this mindset that there is a shortage of money? There is money out there. Go out there and make it. Okay. And then that way you can be able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve and spend what you want to spend and buy what you want to buy. I am on 136% on tonight. Maybe it was because I was saying how I was tired and I need to get through this. So I had to put 10 times more effort into this topic so I can get through it. But even though it is a good topic and is good information, when I was reading it, I was not this excited, right? But this is that 10 times more effort to put it out here in a way that people could feel it, I guess. Okay. Now, middle class was a dream sold to countless Americans as a good goal toward which they should strive. Yet in reality, it is really only close to good and probably better described. Y'all, this got me when I read this. He said that it's better described as a mousetrap with a big fat piece of cheese on it. So this goal is close to good, but the goal is really set up on a mousetrap. So essentially what he is saying is when you go after this goal, you are being set up for failure. You are being set up for diminishing results, diminishing achievements. And we're going to close with this final paragraph. So I'm just going to read it to you. He says, I contend that the middle class is the most suppressed, restricted, and confined socioeconomic demographic in the world. Those who desire to be a part of it are compelled to think and act in a certain way where just enough is the reward. The idea that one would only have enough to be comfortable or adequately satisfied is a concept that has been sold by the educational system, the media, the politicians to convince an entire population of people to settle instead of strive for abundance. However, it only takes a bit of waking up to discover that it is a promise without fulfillment. Today, the wealthiest 5% of people control $80 trillion. 5% of people control $80 trillion. What is wrong with that picture? What are we doing as a people that we are allowing ourselves to get trapped in this mediocre mindset, in this average mindset, that we're allowing only 5% to control the wealth? What are you doing? What are we doing? What am I doing? That we can't make any of the rules and the regulations because we don't have any money. We want things to change. Then again, we got to be able to get on the level where the people who are changing things are making it happen. And guess what they have? So if nothing else, we need to be striving to make some extra money, and be not only extra, but an abundance of money, so that we can truly be a part of the people who are making the changes for everybody, because we've all fallen into this trap. As much as I heard that I need to stay away from credit and that I need to build good credit when I do get credit, I went right off to college and I said, you know what? I want to get this credit card because I want to go out to eat and I want to be able to live and make it look like I had a lifestyle even in college that I did not have. And I ended up getting that first credit card and screwing up my credit right then and there because I was looking at what the media had put out as what my life should be like. So I wanted to be able to go and buy the name brand clothes. Like they put you on a spending frenzy of buying things that you can't afford. And hey, guess what? I'm going to give you this credit card. I'm going to give you this credit in order for you to live this life that you really can't live. And we're just like walking right behind it, right? We are sleepwalking behind it. Like we're just hypnotized. We're hypnotized by what has been poured into us because they want us to go spend. They want us to go buy their things. And so they give us this credit to go and buy it, knowing that we aren't going to be able to pay it back. And so then they give us a high interest rate. And now we're owing them for the rest of our lives. And we're in this debt. And in the meanwhile, they're sitting back and they're going on vacations. And we are wondering why we are stuck in this mindset and why we are stuck in this mentality is because we didn't put 10 times more thought into what our goals are, and we are not living up to what our purpose is. We are only trying to get by. We are only trying to get to that house, in the car, in a vacation here or there. That's not the dream. Skip into the LOL. Let's go. Lack of knowledge has held many back trapped. That's a good question for us, Camille. Hey, Tanya, 5%. Yes. Okay, so however, where are we at? Today, the wealthiest 5% of the people control 80 trillion, which is more money that has been created in the history of mankind. $80 trillion, which is more money than has been created in the history of man. I can't get over it. Only 5% control that. We're silly. We're dumb. Now, let me just put it like that. Like, I don't know what else to say. If you knew that you had the same energy and creativity to make it to the next level, would you give it a try? If you knew that you had the same energy and the same creativity to make it to the next level, would you give it a try? Most of us, no. But for those of you who would, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we can take this and we can apply it to our lives. So if this helped you at all, make sure you shared it. Drop a 1 if you caught this live. Drop a 2 if you're watching this on replay. We are going over the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And so we were on chapter 11 tonight. So make sure you get this book if you haven't already gotten it. But we will be on chapter 12 tomorrow evening. So thank you again for coming on here. And when you do share this video, you're going to be entered into the weekly drawing to get cash prizes, gift cards, and free health and wellness products. Thank you guys so much for dropping those ones. Hey, Dr. Gerald Hightower. All right, guys. So that's my time, Camille Aiko. I hope that you are living the life that you love spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. Good night.